I'm doing a marathon of When I'm Not Podcasting episodes, which includes this episode that I thought is very important to kind of bring up and make mention of. Me doing Uber and Lyft. Well, a couple things we can bring up in the stories real quick. Number one, Lyft is going to start doing shared rides very soon. SF Gate is reporting the story, and they said that the shared ride experience is coming to Chicago, Philadelphia, and Denver beginning July 19th, with a few COVID precautions thrown in good measure. For instance, only 2 passengers can share a ride at any given time, with the middle and front seats reserved for social distancing. Also, a couple of pandemic-era rules will remain intact. No food and drink in cars, and masks are mandatory. Drivers and passengers are also able to stop rides at any time if the other is not adhering to the safety policies set by the company. And there are some additional perks Lyft is rolling out for the return of shared rides. One called No Surprise Pickups, eliminating a small grievance on the shared ride experience on the app. And this is due to the right mix of rider demand and driver supply for this offering. So there's that story that's come into play. The other that's come in is the normal kind of crap that comes up on a regular basis where Uber and Lyft are getting the short end of the stick. Oh, they're charging surge rates, not enough drivers, da 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 da. Listen, in the last month in South Florida where I'm at, which is covering Miami area, I could tell you that I was making about $25 an hour. And this is probably up until about the normal tourist season. So into May, right before Memorial Day, I was doing really good. Surge rates were across the board on the weekends. Like there would be surge prices that would actually benefit the drivers. And the bonuses were a lot bigger. And then they just went down to a kind of a certain lull. We still have bonuses, thank goodness, but they're not as high as they were before. And the rides, I normally now average $15 an hour. Back to where I was pre-pandemic. Basically January, February of 2020. That's where I'm at right now. But that's okay. I don't mind that so much. That's kind of customary. But I wish it was more, but it's okay. I don't mind so much. MissionLocal.org putting out this story. I hadn't seen this website before, but we'll look at it. They talk about how rideshare prices skyrocket. Uber and Lyft take a bigger piece of riders' payments. So they basically did a non-calculated study where they booked 10 rides with Uber, 10 with Lyft, and drivers pocketed on an average of 52% of the fares. Yeah, that's about right. So I believe this is in San Francisco. Just to give you the point of this. So Uber's claimed the amount it takes from fares are on average, known as a take rate, is about 25%. The driver apparently got 44% of the payment of one of the drivers. And a cursory Google search can quickly pull up screenshots that this is nothing new, and many outlets have collected data shedding insight on the company's take rates. Now, tracking rideshare companies' take rate was in 2019. There was a media outlet, Jalopnik, that examined 14,756 fares, concluding that Uber kept 35% of the revenue, Lyft would keep 38% of the revenue. That's about right. Like I said, it's about 70 cents a mile on average for both Uber and Lyft. And Lyft used to be a little bit less than Uber, and then the other way turned around. So as the supply of rideshare drivers has declined and prices have spiked, not so much anymore. I'm telling you that has changed somewhat. Driver's pay is determined by a base amount, trip duration, trip distance, and potential surge pricing, along with incentives such as reaching a certain number of rides within a time frame not determined by what customers pay. So Mission Local booked 20 rides in San Francisco with drivers who shared pay for their trips. They shared how much they were going to get. A driver said demand has lead back up and prices are higher, but they said no one noticed more pay per trip. In this unscientific sampling, they showed that 10 rides that came up, drivers with Uber received an average of 56% of what I paid. 10 with Lyft, drivers received an average of 47% of what I paid. Of all, 20 drivers took home an average of 52% of what I got charged. Yeah, and that's what happens. And they're talking about the rides were between $9 and $15 for Uber, and then they were between $15 and $28 for Lyft. That's the idea. So it was kind of interesting. You know, Lyft, sometimes you might get rides that might get a little bit more of the percentage that the Uber drivers will keep. I'm not sure how the whole algorithm works, But like I said, I mean, if I look at the pricing, I can see how much they're making and what they're saying they're going to be able to keep in the most part. To calculate how much Uber and Lyft make from the fees, they have to be taken into account. Uber airports aside, their share comes from after the city's tax in San Francisco, roughly 3.25%, or generally less than $1 per ride in San Francisco. Lyft doesn't show drivers a fee breakdown per the ride beyond what they make. In an email, the company explained it replaced drivers' single ride breakdown with a weekly snapshot of how much riders pay per week. They do this, wrote Lyft, to highlight aggregate earnings and insights rather than individual ride details, which rideshare company can be misleading. Now, there's more they talk about what comes to Prop 22, which is where they're trying to go ahead and make Uber and Lyft drivers in California full-time workers with benefits and things like that. You know, it's what it is. And they go through a lot more of what the people are doing on here and what they're doing. But again, this is also people that are doing work, and this is in San Francisco itself, which I got a chance to go and drive with Uber and Lyft at San Fran and try them both. It's a much different bag over there because you got so much ground to carry. If you're having to go and drive to San Jose or, San Mateo or whatever. I mean, if you're driving from the airport out to another airport to whatever, and you have to drive those highways out there. Like, there's some major rides you have to do. But I'll say that the Uber and Lyft drivers are very nice out there. I really did appreciate that over there when I got a chance to use them for airport rides. Very nice and courteous. Plus, I did the shared rides, and everybody was really talkative. I noticed that one thing about in California. Very talkative, very friendly. Like, mostly for Uber, I can't tell you, in the last couple of weeks, I might talk to maybe one or two drivers a week in 40 rides I might do. It's just something out there. You speak when spoken to, more or less. I mean, unless I want to do a little talking more to try to get more tips, I might do that, but it's not doing too much for me. Anyway, I'll keep my eye on this and keep telling you the truth about Uber and Lyft because I tried for them and I like it. Okay? Anyway, I'll leave it there and I'll talk to you next time.